most local backup software packages. Local backups are very rarely encrypted, and you've always got the problem that people have physical access to the data. Whereas with online backup, we use military-grade encryption. Data is actually encrypted 3 times before it's stored. So you've got excellent security built into the software. From a management standpoint, online backup is just far easier to support and manage, both for you and for your customers. And from a cost standpoint, we've actually already covered that online backup provides all of these benefits from a product standpoint, but is actually a lot cheaper than hardware-based backup. From a margin standpoint for you, the reseller, single digits on the hardware, up to 60% gross margin with a recurring revenue stream when you're selling online backup. Got some comments coming in. We've got, oh, this is a really good comment. Typical small businesses don't know or can't compare this. I agree, and that's your job. It's your job to educate your customers on how bad their current solution is and how much better online backup is, that they can have a far better data protection service at a far lower cost. So the reason we present this is the exact sort of information that you should get in front of your customers to show them how much money they are wasting. At the end of the day, this is about helping your customers save money. And in the current economic climate, that's a very powerful sales tool. If you can call your customers and say, hey, I can save you $5,000 a year, you're going to get interest. We've got some people that says, not sure I buy your economic argument. Fair enough. The scenario was drawn from a real-life customer, so in that case it absolutely applied. Not sure. If you want to expand on that, I can talk more to which parts of it you don't agree with. I'm just looking through some of these other comments here. Okay, great. Let's keep hammering along. So what's going on in the online backup industry? Well, the first comment is we're seeing pretty spectacular growth. So online backup really made its debut in the US in 2006. Pretty slow year, frankly. 2007-8, it really picked up. In the last 24 months, online backup's gone mainstream. It's now the fastest selling backup solution in the entire backup and DR space. So, I mean, our contention, and most pundits agree, is that backup will get 70, 80%, online backup will get 70 or 80% of the overall backup industry. Excuse me, I'm a little under the weather. We've, a question we often get is, how big is the backup industry and how big is this opportunity? Just some rough statistics. The overall industry is about $10 billion a year in terms of spend on backup and disaster recovery. But that is split across the 3 market segments of consumer, small business, and enterprise, and then also further divided into hardware, software, and services. So it's a very big market. The overall online backup market's at just under $1 billion a year. So if online backup's going to get 80% market share, there's still a lot of growth ahead of the industry. So we're at an interesting inflection point in the industry where the technology's become mainstream. There's a lot of intent to purchase out there in the market. And we're seeing rapid adoption of online backup, particularly in the small business space. All right, and lots more statistics around that, but let's skip through and start to look at some of the technology here. The SOS technology is built around 4 key concepts: protect your data, access your data, share your data, and manage your data. Protect is about providing world-class backup and recovery, and we believe we've got the best online backup and recovery system in the market. But that's not all the SOS technology does, and this is, I think, one of the major differentiators that SOS has got compared to the competition. All of our competition do this protect element. They don't do it as well as us, but they do it. Nobody else does the access, share, and manage the way SOS does. So access is about providing you with new and exciting ways to get at and consume your data, whether that's on your BlackBerry, your iPhone, your iPad, streaming your music straight from the cloud to any mobile device, providing access to data to business colleagues. Sharing data is similar. It's providing secure access to people outside of your authenticated regime to your data, whether that's sharing business data with a colleague or sharing photos with a friend. And then manage, which is extremely important, particularly for you as a reseller. If you've got 300 customers using online backup, how are you going to manage your private cloud? And this has been a big problem in the online backup world, that as you start to get success with online backup, managing it becomes very expensive. SOS recently launched a new Pulse management framework, which is, I think, hands down the most robust management framework in the market. None of our competitors have true management frameworks. So when you're talking to our competitors, Ask them about their management system. Ask them how they do remote deployment. Ask them how you can control backup sets and administer policies across up to 5,000 computers. You simply can't do it. And we're going to talk more about Pulse in a couple of slides' time. But let's look at the actual core product software. So to answer some of the questions we've had, yes, it's 64-bit compatible. The core product runs on everything from Windows XP all the way through to Windows Server 2008 R2. We've also got some Apple solutions. We can back up iPads and iPods and iPhones. We've got a core Mac product about to be released to partners. But Mac workstations and laptops is really not our focus. We support it, but most of our resellers focus primarily on Windows, and we'll have some Mac devices sprinkled in among their customer mix. If you're an exclusively Mac environment, we're probably not the partner for you. But if you've got some Mac in your environment, up to 20 or 30% of your environment, then we can handle that with no problem. But let's talk about some actual features. So at the top here, continuous data protection. This is pretty cool. You can have the SOS software watch any content, and it will back it up to the cloud immediately upon change. So it's a live built-in CDP module that we don't charge extra for. Most backup vendors will charge $500 or $1,000 for CDP, whereas ours is built into the software. Got a question here. Is your product based on your own software or piggybacked off another software such as a Segra or Robovac? Absolutely not piggybacked off any other product. Ours is the best software platform on the market. We've been in this game a lot longer than any of those other companies. They copy us generally. You can do research online and you'll see that we've really pioneered a lot of the stuff that's now standard in the online backup industry. So private key encryption, we're the first to have that. Physical seeding of backup to the data center, we're first to have that. Mobile backup, first to have that. Fully integrated local backup, first to have that. I can go on and on. But let's keep spinning through some of the specific features. Unlimited computers, this is quite important. When you look at most other online backup solutions out there, they charge you a license fee for every seat you connect. So if you've got, say, 100 workstations in an environment, let's use Mozy as an example. Mozy charges $3.95 per month for every connected computer. So that's going to cost you $395 a month just to have those 100 computers connected with no data being backed up to the cloud. It starts to get very expensive over time. With SOS, you can have an unlimited number of computers connected to a single account completely for free. Now, if you wanted to, as a reseller, you could charge per computer your clients. We don't stop you from doing that. We don't recommend it, but you can do that. But it's actually where the system becomes most powerful is where you do connect an entire office environment to one account. So that's the way we recommend you deploy it. Bottom left, global roaming access to files. This is the ability to access your content from any browser-based technology. Access on iPhone, so we've got native clients for iPhone and for BlackBerry that let you access your content, and then we've got a mobile portal for Android and Windows Mobile and the Nokia platform. I think there are 300 smartphones supported through that platform. And people are quick to dismiss the mobile access as being, a consumery type feature. And sure, streaming your music from the cloud to your iPhone is pretty cool, but it is very much a home user feature. And something I do, for example, I've got all my MP3s up in the cloud, and wherever I am, I can access my music library. But access is very much a B2B feature. And there's a story one of our partners tells. He was playing golf on a Sunday, and he got a phone call from a client. The client said something to the effect of, Greg, I've got a presentation tomorrow with a customer that we originally did a presentation for 3 years ago. I know you've backed up the presentation. I need you to get me that file by 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Well, with disk or tape, that's just an impossible task. There's no way that you can do that type of turnaround on a 3-year-old archive copy of data. In this particular case, Greg, our partner, had been backing up the customer using the SOS technology. Greg was using the SOS iPhone application. Without leaving the golf course, pulls out his iPhone, searches, does a few searches, finds the file, emails it to the customer, says, is this the file you're looking for? Customer says, yes. Greg never left the green, which is a nice little story, but I think it highlights the power that cloud-based backup brings to ways we access and share and use our data. This is not just about backing up data to the cloud. It's about fundamentally changing the way we can deal with our data now that it is in the cloud. Free integrated local backup here on the bottom right-hand side. So there's a full local backup engine built into the software. which means your customers can still do full local backups on-site and then off-site backups. And that's very important and something you won't find in our competitors' packages. And we're big believers in having backups for the backups. So having that local backup technology gives you that ability to do two-step backup. Got some more comments coming in here. Does it support Acronis disk images? No, the Acronis image technology is proprietary to Acronis, so we don't support that. Question here, is your product based on someone else? Oh, we've covered that. How does CDP work with database files? Does it make the copy after the file closes? You wouldn't use CDP on database files, to be honest. You would use scheduled backup on database files. CDP is best used for content like, generally Office documents is the best use of CDP. Otherwise, I mean, the problem with CDP is that it actually comes at quite a processing cost because you're constantly running and comparing and analyzing data. So you wouldn't do it on something like a database, which is changing constantly. You would do a regularly scheduled backup, so maybe every hour, for example. Question here, do we have plans to develop a dedicated mobile app for Android? We've got our Android portal, which supports sharing and streaming and access, and that's probably good enough for the moment. We're looking into whether or not we should actually build an Android backup application, but there's actually quite a few of those out there already in the market, whereas for iPhone backup and BlackBerry backup, there wasn't anything. So we're toying with the idea of Android, and if that's something you'd like to see, then certainly let us know. What's the average bandwidth consumed? Is the bandwidth able to be managed? Yes, you can manage the bandwidth. In terms of the bandwidth consumed, it really depends on the data you're trying to protect. So you can throttle the bandwidth that the system uses on your network, and that will, of course, change the amount of time that a backup takes to run. Can we get a copy of these slides? Yeah, you'll get a automatic email with a link to the video of this presentation. Okay, is there any bare metal restore? Can we, say, run a Acronis or Shadow Protect backup once a week in addition to this? Of course you can do that, John. You could use our local backup software and then back that up to the cloud, or you could use Acronis to do a disk image and then back that up to the cloud. So you can definitely combine our software with many other technologies, and a lot of people do that. What about Exchange backup? How would that work? So for Exchange, we've got our hosted CES service, Complex Environment Support Service, which is an excellent product for Exchange. We'll take over the complete management of backing up and protecting your Exchange environment for $25 a month per server, which, I mean, it's hard to beat that. Most of our resellers tell us that they can't support a server for less than $100 a month. So what most of our resellers do is sell that through to their customers and have us manage the Exchange backup for that server. And we've got CES offerings for a variety of environments, primarily Exchange and SQL Server are our biggest market. There. Okay, some other questions rolling in. How is data retention handled as well as archive backups? Going to do that on the next slide. Is there a Windows mobile client? Not today, but there is a Windows mobile portal. How much is SQL backup? $25 per month per server. So that's, again, through our CES offering. So ask your partner specialist about CES. Can we back up open files such as PST, access databases? Absolutely, open file backups built in. For US customers, where does the data reside? We've got 5 data centers in continental USA. So for US customers, it would be in one of those 5 data centers. Yeah, CES is $25 per server. So if you had SQL and Exchange running on one server, then that would be $50 for that server. Okay. Question, I'll answer this question. One customer's got an iPhone in front of them with the SOS backup application. How do I do a backup? I don't see an option. Only see documents, pictures, search, no backup functionality. Should be a protect option at the bottom of the interface, and if not, you might need to update and get the latest copy of the software. All right. Let's get back to the slide deck and keep the questions rolling in. That's great. Can we get specs on the data centers used? No, we don't give out that information. We hold that information very tightly. We only use tier 3 and 4 data centers. We do give out that much information, but any specific details about our data centers is held very tightly. If you're interested in getting more information, then you can call our partner team